long drawn out process to get annexed in it. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for short invocation. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear God, as we gather this evening, this council asks you for your strength, courage, and wisdom. We give you thanks for this wonderful town that we live in, the privilege that it is to serve it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. There you go. I'm going to call to order the Tuesday, October 17th meeting of the Mooresville Town Council. Gentlemen have had a chance to read the minutes from our previous meeting. I need a motion to either approve, amend, or deny all of the minutes. The motion will approve previous meeting minutes as written. Motion been made. Do I have a second? Second. Motion been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Josh Gray, 4-0. Under unfinished business, we have the final budget adoption before us. If we look at the budget as presented and as put on Gateway, this year our budget, we've always kind of in the past strived for a balanced budget. This year we're not going to hit that goal, but it is a by choice reasoning on not hitting that balanced budget. Last year we were almost $1 million underfunded, but we had certain projects that we wanted to take care of, and we spent those knowing good and well when we did it, when we approved the budget, that those projects were a one-time expense, and we funded those through surplus or money that we still had in our bank account. This year is going to be exact or similar. With our property tax driven funds, that's our general or motor vehicle highway fund or motor vehicle highway restricted fund, our park fund, and our CCD fund, we're going to be approximately $163,996. Approximately, I guess I should say approximately $164,000 underfunded. Now, by underfunded on that, it is simply because we have some projects we want to take. We want to be able to accomplish, and we can do it by funding out of our surplus. So that is an intentional one-time expenses on funding this year's budget. In our other budgets that come from other sources, Riverboat, LRNS, Cemetery, CCI, Edit, Lowit, Food and Beverage, Park Non-Reverting, EMS, Law Enforcement, Planning and Zoning, Unsafe Building, burglar alarm fees, and gateway maintenance. On those budgets, we are going to be looking at about a $620,000 underfunding or deficit in those. We do have money that is earmarked as surplus and can fund those projects. That puts us at $783,000 out of balance, but those funds are readily available, and we know what we're doing. If we look at the revolving or the constant expenses, our budgets are zero balance, are perfectly balanced on the reoccurring items in the budget where we have been perfectly good on those. We have a few departments that are extremely out of balance. We have worked on those as far as trying to get them back in balance by shifting some levy around and making them as close as we can. Our park department at this time in their budget, they will appear to be $127,000 out of balanced. We've talked with the park superintendent. These are for items that are one-time expenses, and will be hopefully we'll be back in where we need to be, back balanced next year. That is probably the one that is most out of balance, but you know what? We've been here 2024, and we'll be here again at some point in time, as long as we keep our surpluses where they need to be. Are there any questions from the council on this year's budget? Our budget ordinance this ordinance will be ordinance 12, 2023. I need a motion to either approve, amend, or deny the budget ordinance.
Motion to approve 12, 2023.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. To the department heads out there, outstanding. You guys did a wonderful job. You brought this to the council with good intentions and trustworthy heart on keeping the funding where it needed to be, and I thank each and every one of you. Next item on the agenda is our David Lane annexation. Now, do we have to?
You have to adopt the fiscal plan that's in front of you and was distributed.
Before you is the fiscal plan, and if you look through this fiscal plan, it talks about the cost of services and what the impact is going to be on annexing this property. Baker Tilly has always worked very close with us, and they have always done a wonderful job. It is showing zero impact on our budgets and on the financial stability of the town. So the first thing that we would need on that is to approve the annexation fiscal plan provided to us.
Motion to approve the annexation fiscal plan.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Craig, Jeff, 4-0. Now we're going to move on to the ordinance annexing said property.
Ordinance number 11, 2023. So you got the first reading at the last meeting of the public hearing. This will be the final action that you'll take once this passes. If it does, that property will then, this document will be recorded and that property will be annexed into the civil town of Mooresville.
Questions for legal counsel? Motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve 11-2023.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Greg, Josh, 4-0. Now, what is the time frame? How does this play out? Could you please explain that?
Yeah, so what will happen now is this will be recorded. There will be a slight remonstrance period if somebody wants to challenge the annexation. The only way that a super voluntary annexation can be challenged is challenging the contiguity, which isn't an issue here, so I don't see any reason to stop that. And so here in the next couple weeks it will be finalized, and then it'll be done. So they'll go through and change the borders.
Change the borders, the ward district, and everything. Okay.
Wondering if there's any problem with this, and the wording is that going to cause any problem. I'm sorry. It's got listed as Indiana American Water Service Territory. It's Hill Water. For the fiscal plan? Okay, yeah, that's and it won't cause any problem because you don't have water, right?
We don't.
They have that in there, so they're showing that somebody's providing the water outside of the table.
Well, it's not happened yet. Welcome to the town of Mooresville after this short remonstrance period.
Housekeeper down on me, wanting to know how long or was there loans about them?
I've spoken with the people out of, is it Clayton Homes?
Yeah, Clayton.
Evansville. So I told them that we would be passing the ordinance today. So I've given them kind of that schedule, and they seemed okay with it. So after that, it's going to be you getting the permits from the county and.
No, from us.
Yeah. Sorry.
So when can we have to wait a few more weeks for that?
I think we can go ahead and get the process started because again, the annexation, the only thing that you can challenge for super voluntary annexation is contiguity, meaning that do you border the town? Do you share a border? And there's no question of contiguity here, so. I think you can go ahead and start the process, and once it's finalized, then you're good to go. Okay, good.
Okay, thank you.
This will be the public hearing for the confirmatory resolution regarding the designation of an economic revitalization area in regards to the property down in Flagstaff. Mike, do you have any comments on this?
Mr. President, just as a reminder, this is lot 8 in Flagstaff. It's about a 1.25 acre site. The developer wants to build a 1.5 million, 20,000 square foot spec building. We can add an inventory here for small business development, so we encourage you to approve this ERA and the tax abatement request on confirmatory resolution this evening.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the public that wants to speak either for or against creating this revitalization area? May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Greg and Josh, 4-0. Now we can go ahead and pass the confirmatory resolution. Motion to either approve or deny the resolution number 26, 2023.
Make the motion, we approve resolution 26-2023.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. That's Greg, 4-0. Thank you. Don't build that building. I think your bird's up, moving a little bit of dirt maybe. Yeah, there you go. Take care. Next item on the agenda is park projects. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but we got a new superintendent that seems to really like to improve our park system. He brought backup with him. You know, I had the privilege, or I guess I want to call it the privilege of speaking with both of these fine gentlemen in regards to the projects that are going on and how it's all kind of coming together, but yet it still needs to be drawn out some. I think one of their biggest goals was to make sure that the council, as well as the redevelopment board, who's already shown that they were on board with this, that the council was on board on moving forward. We talked about funding mechanisms, and we talked about what we can and can't do with our revenue sources that they don't have, such as our food and beverage. Past councils, or the council that adopted the food and beverage back in the 80s, they were wise enough and forward-thinking enough that they made one of the acceptable uses for our food and beverage fund was park improvements. With the projects that are going on at the park, the redevelopment board can buy all the brick and mortar that they want to and pavement and fences and everything like that, but they can't do anything to sustain the use of it afterwards. So that's where we had questions and conversations on the town's, this board's comfort level with helping to fund those projects. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Matt Stainer, our park board president. Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. Thank you, Mr. Worthen and Phil. I really appreciate the opportunity here with you tonight. We also have BJ Bungard and Mark Taylor also from the park board with us tonight. The parks, really why am I here? Just to reiterate our strategic vision and mission, which we want to be a shared strategic vision and mission. With Phil and the team being the executors of that, but we see a lot of stakeholders, right? The RDC is a stakeholder, town council is a stakeholder, the park board is a stakeholder. The individuals that run and operate the park on behalf of this community and really beyond, let's be honest, people don't draw the imaginary lines when they say, hey, I want my kid to go play soccer. They say, where can my kid go play soccer? And we're an enabler for that. But our primary mission is to be the our community, and that's the members of our community today, the members of our community tomorrow, to be that destination. And we do that through talking, voice of customer, if you will, voice of the community, understanding what their needs and desires are, the democratic approach, of course, and then also looking at what our neighboring communities doing, both directly neighboring, but also general, state, national levels, what is working, what is not, what are the fads that people are jumping on and proving out to be long-term endeavors, and what are the ones that are sticking. And that's where we've come up with this multi-phase plan, which we've already showed and demonstrated to you. We've gotten a $3.1 billion commitment so far from the RDC to execute several of those core phases. And, I think the conversations that we've had leading up to this are understanding, one, how do we share this vision? I think we're there already, so I won't belabor that point. But two, to Mr. Worthen's point, what are the capital outlays and expenses, and how do we execute that in a very methodical way that we are working backwards to know how do we fund this to build the necessary infrastructure and add-ons to the park. And then also the operating expenses or OpEx, how do we maintain those going on? Because a few of these things will require, additional power, gas, electrical heating, potentially more staff over time, right? And but we want all those to pay dividends to the community and the taxpayer in the long run. And that's really what this is all about, being very thorough with the due diligence to lead us there and not just reacting in an impromptu way. So I guess that's kind of where I'll leave it with that. Phil's the one who's really helping drive through the details of how do we get there and what does it mean to execute this plan. So, give it back over to Phil.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you to the park board members for attending this evening and those that are listening at home. So tonight, kind of taking a step back of last time you saw me. So we put the cart a little bit before the horse. As citizens, I blame my enthusiasm and my eagerness of excitement for this project. So I do want to extend my apologies for basically doing that for you guys on record. And what we have done since then, since you've last seen me before the council, is we took a deeper dive internally of what does this project mean? How are we going to go from now? So we have spoken with Lehman & Lehman, who helped us do the concept design with this project, and we are now waiting for their final proposal to be doing an amendment to that original contract with them to go to systematic design, which will take us all the way to the point of opening bids and creating the final construction documentation. So once we do that, we will be starting the process with them, barring any future negotiations with Lehman, but if everything works smoothly, we should progress smoothly with them. So tonight, my only ask, and this is a courtesy ask for the town council, is we would like a blanket release to be able to spend our capital non-reverting fund in its entirety to zero to help start and kickstart the process of this build. That fund currently sits a little north of $550,000, but that will be a portion of our contribution to the start of this process. So I'll leave the council for discussion.
I've got a question. Tom, you said you've had talks with them about money and things like that. With us releasing that non-reverting and taking that account down to zero versus using like food and beverage, what's the thought process there? Is that something we want to do? Is that something the park's comfortable with doing? Should we do that, or what's the?
I think they brought that to us.
Yeah,
Brought
I
that
think
to us and said that. And the idea in my mind is the food and beverage, we may need at a later time to be able to help them with the maintenance and upfront. It is a continuous flow as long as we get people to go out and eat. So Grace is open until 8:30 if everyone is interested. But there's a little bit of what happens after everything's done. What's happened after Lehman walks away, the contractors, so that last bit of grass seed, how do we fund it with that? The park board has never in my opinion, the park board and the superintendents, the past superintendents, have never pushed the envelope and saying, hey, we need more people, we need more people. They've always made it work with the people they have. And while that's fantastic, this project here is a little bit bigger. This is something that's going to be 24/7, 365. It's not going to be like the grass that we say, hey, we're going to mow this 26 times this year and then we're going to walk away from it. It is going to be a little bit expensive. I think they've been very conservative. I think Phil did make the comment that some of the prices that he originally thought were going to happen may come back a little bit lower. Matt and I talked about they may come back higher, and we say, what the heck did we just do? We don't know what's going to happen. We got to put a, I kept saying to them, we need to put a shovel on the ground and figure out where we're at. Not going to say that that's all we're going to do. Right now, at this point in time, Phil came back and said, okay, let's look at this entire project. We can fund everything. Right now, the concerns are the one thing that's going unfunded is the blacktop and fencing for the storage area, the secured area. Right now, we don't have a secured area. This is something that we didn't used to have a secured area at the police department. This is something that maybe we will have to fund later on. By we, I do mean the nice people that eat at Gray's Cafeteria and McDonald's here in the town of Mooresville. So I didn't, at no point in time did I say, hey, we're not on board. What I said was, we just need to figure out where we can help and where our funds are most beneficial.
Right. And I don't think this work's causing any resistance to it. I'm just curious on if you guys are comfortable spending that $500,000. I know we talked about we haven't gotten into it a whole lot. 2013, I think you said was the last time you got into it. But
2013, 2015 was roughly the last 2 years that we went into that fund. One was for the zip line, was a component of that, and then also with the pool, a few pool repairs. Was the last kind of times that we touched that fund necessarily. Now we've put funds back into that during that time frame, but nothing really substantial has came out of that fund since.
And I think the key is, a couple things. One is we definitely are trying to be methodical with the overall project ask, right? Regardless of the funding source, right? So this is not, magic wand project where it's our dream desire to have the best in the state of whatever, right? This is to meet a minimum bar of a standard, or instead of a good bar for what we do build. So we are trying to be conservative in our approach to begin with, and so there's not a ton of meat to trim off. I think the meat on the bone would come from finding the right best prices and being fairly methodical in the way that we bid out the jobs. So that's obviously one aspect. I think the other aspect, though, is we want to have skin in our own game, right? We don't expect everybody else to fund what we're doing, and we do have that capital there. Let's spend it. We want to make sure, though, that we don't overextend ourselves, and then also we do want to make sure that if we are emptying our coffers, that we have to go forward plan for what we do next. How do we look back at that? And I think that's the spirit of kind of where you're getting at, too. And I think that's where collectively, as the park board, our funding comes through town council for the most part, or at least we plan on how that works together. So I think that is a good question, and but again, comfortable is a relative question. We've done the graph, and we're willing to put this forward as the way to move forward. So yes, okay, comfortable from that.
And if I make the systematic design component that is identified next stage will help us create those hard costs. So looking at, instead of preliminary, we'll have hard costs, so we'll see how far our reserve, our cash on hand can go, and how far the contribution from RDC can go. And then there we'll have a better basically idea of how far we need, and then we can have the future conversations as we will continue as this project progresses, because this is a legacy project, and ultimately I'm just jazzed to be a part of it. So
For non-reverting fund, we went a few 2 years there without being able to put anything in that because a lot of their non-reverting fund comes from revenue of the pool and other things that we weren't able to accomplish because of the COVID and all this. So hopefully we start to see more as we build the park up, we start seeing revenues come in, that we can build that non-reverting up also.
A good example of that is our reserve. So we purchased two properties just off of County Line Road. J1, J2 is what we've labeled them, two residential houses. We have recouped all costs of those property purchases at this time, and that took us about 3.5 years. So, and that's from self-generated revenue.
And there's a lot of this project will add additional revenue streams. So the event center, for example, will have additional ability to rent space. New shelter houses, we always are renting out our shelter houses. There's a need for more of those. So this is also, to an extent, we want to self-sustain the growth. We might have to think about the bigger picture map as well, but it's not just expenditures without understanding the revenue impact that those add to the equation as well.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
So Bill wanted to get on this.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my next one after the vote.
You guys thought about finding maybe a less aggressive? No comment.
I have my list, and I'm going to stick to my list.
Okay.
I'll say he's got great support from the board.
Okay.
It's not just him.
All of the board? I need a motion to allow them to spend down their non-reverting funds, capital improvement funds.
Just so public knows, I mean, it's not an operating fund or anything, but you operate out of it. It's just that fund on hand for this.
Correct. It is for capital improvement projects.
Nobody thinks you're great in the account.
Right, it's not the payroll account.
No, sir. Paychecks will still hit people's accounts. So.
Out of that account.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Great, Jeff, 4-0.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's, the council graciously, helped us kind of start the kick process of revamping already one of our parks in our system, so Old Town Park. With your help, got a brand new facelift restroom, which has been greatly received by the community, and one of the identified next steps was that playground, looking at giving that a new facelift. So last time I was before the council, you saw this similar proposal before you, included pictures, working with the company in question, and also after legal review, there is litigation that we can only make up to 50% of total project costs for a quote, down payment or deposit. So we're statute into that level. So before you, after after Julie graciously reviewed that and found that for us, went back to the company, and they have agreed to that process, as I suspected they would, and also on top of that, came down in price on top of it. So you're looking at the total project cost for the equipment, the new equipment. This includes the play structure, 2 center play systems, and a 3-bay swing at a total cost of $57,647. That would bring your total deposit for the $28,823.50. So tonight, we are seeking the approval to move forward with this playground order and first payment of the deposit. These funds have been identified using the food and beverage as budgeted this year, doing a combination of a restructure of the identified $40,000 and $40,000, one for shelter, a new park shelter, and a new playground, which was identified through this year's funding strategy.
One question, did you, the grant
It was only good till the 27th. You got that extended, correct?
We have that extended, so, we have worked with, the court treasurer's office that we would be, ready to, get the, not quote an emergency check, but we would be able to issue a check before that deadline. So, but we can extend, get a extension if that ever comes into it. Correct. If necessary, an extension is possible.
Even though the document that was sent to you from Game Time says 100% has that number there, you have cleared it with them.
Yes, we have that cleared, and it's also in an email that also has been shared with legal.
Questions or comments? Need a motion to sign off on this contract.
So moved.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Jeff, Josh, 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have one of these that I need to sign, or that we need to sign. No. Because he will sign as the park superintendent.
Correct. I think he can sign, you've approved moving forward with this and the payment of it, so.
Did you, Phil, you will be the signature on this one?
Yes.
Okay. Under new business, there's nothing there other than, again, we talked about it last week, Halloween trick-or-treat, hours, night. We always kind of stuck with Halloween as a night to do it. Phil said that Martinsville is doing 5 to 8.
6 to 8, around there. Everybody around the county is around 5 to 8.
So I wanted to do like 5:17 to 8:06 to make sure that no one confused us with Martinsville. Is that
Exactly what I told him.
so? We need a date and a time frame in the form of a motion.
Make a motion that we have trick or treat hours on October 31st from 5 to 8.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Department head reports. Phil, you stay down.
There he goes. There he goes.
Put your hands
Our Halloween hike is, stay on topic, so our Halloween hike will be October 28th, from 3 to 5 p.m. at Pioneer Park. Love for the community to come out and join us. A couple of, quick items for, the council. So we sent out the RFI for IT services. We received 2 proposals back, from companies. So Tommy has graciously, helped us with, wanting to review those proposals with the department heads. Tonight, if another council member would like to join in with that, we would like to schedule that meeting within the next few weeks, so we can bring that back for council, full consideration in November.
Not everybody at once. We can only have 2. Is that acceptable with the council?
Fine with me.
All right. The last thing I have is a few disc golf sats. As the council is aware, we installed that disc golf course, and luckily enough, we've also published it on a online site, UDisc. So if any of the community members wants to come out and play, please follow us on UDisc. You can track your scores as you actively play, and with that, we actually can collect data while you actually play, and you have a little competition too, because it keeps track of who has the best score. But through September, there was over 457 rounds actually documented through UDisc. September 25th of all days was our busiest day with 46 rounds completed, and we've had people upwards of 4 to 8 travel more than 150 miles to come play our course. And with these rounds, it also tracks your steps. So over the course, just the month of September, the people playing disc golf in Pioneer Park have walked 673 miles. So thank you for your time tonight. That is all I have, unless the council has any questions. Told you I would be quick.
Thank you. I think I've walked that much in 18 holes of golf before. Don't trim back the poison ivy, let them learn it. Next department head.
It's just the roof.
Nothing? Nothing? Dave? Calvin's got some, I know he does, because I'm gonna help him out with it.
So this afternoon, we had a meeting with the engineers and the contractors on Monroe Street. Over the next couple of weeks, you'll see that winding down, milling and overlay. Well, they'll start milling tomorrow. They promised they would have the entrances into the school and Memorial Drive done before Monday morning. Started picking up leaves this week, and that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you. Calvin, you want me to present this on cutting? Go on out. It's all fun. Gentlemen, at the last minute, Calvin was able to get these all put together this afternoon, and Diana was gracious enough to print those out and send them to you. What we have is the outfall, the portion that takes the water out of the wastewater treatment plant, puts it into the creek, because it is good potable water at that point in time, ready to go. Goes over behind the movie theater. There is a backup to where if it would get clogged or if the flow is too intense for it, it will go out outfall number 2, which is a little closer to the plant. Upon inspection with IDAM, we found that outfall number 1 was plugged, and Calvin was able to get 4 estimates or 4 quotes.
4 quotes on cutting through whatever's in there.
Calvin and Mark met with all 4 of these companies and seemed to be comfortable with all 4. I asked him if he had any recommendations, either for or against. The last one on there that shows just a daily price of their services, he was not happy with that one because they wouldn't tell him how many days it was going to be. Everyone else said this is how much the job will be from start to finish, and he seemed to be, you were satisfied with any one of the 3, is that correct?
I would prefer the one that has the root cutting, has a little saw that goes through, cuts all the roots out, so if we have anything in there, it'll clear it out.
And which one was that?
That's commercial. It is not the cheapest one. It's commercial.
US Hydrovac wouldn't do that.
Yeah, they'll do it.
But do they have the cutting?
Price.
I prefer commercial
Okay.
because of the root cutting.
So they're not offering the root cutting portion of it. They think they're just going to be able to back it out, pressure wash it and back it out.
Correct.
You don't think it's gonna work?
What? What's that?
The US Hydrovac, just the pressure washer and back it out.
They didn't, there's something blocking that. We've been clearing it out, we've been looking at it, we cleared everything out, so we can get equipment down there, and we cannot get that thing open. And if we can get the roots cut, if there's more than roots, well, fine, but if we can get the roots out, that'll help everything. They have a saw that's on the end of the,
We've been using our jet truck trying to get through it and can't.
can't get it down there. Can't get it down to the outfall. Goes underneath the railroad. It's really low. They have a mobile device that can get back almost into the creek and shut it through. Back this way, from the creek back to the plant.
About a $5,040 difference between the two.
It is. But
But that saw is that important?
I think it is.
Okay.
It's got to be done.
There's a chance of it being collapsed.
Pardon?
There's a chance of it being collapsed.
We'll find out. Because we have not scoped it all the way through. It's a long way from the plant.
Are we capable of scoping it or not?
Not with our equipment.
Enough line?
Can't get through it. Can't go, it's
I
not,
thought we can't get through it.
we'll have it long enough.
Right.
It goes from the plant all the way back to behind where the mall is. Way, way back there. Probably more than a half mile.
Okay.
Now, we drain into the other creek, Lick Creek, the smaller one, but the state doesn't want it in there. They want it to go to the main branch of Lick Creek. That 002 goes to the west branch. Our main one goes to the creek. And that's where they want the water to go.
Okay.
We can divert it anywhere we want, but it's supposed to go to the main creek.
And your recommendation is the commercial with the saw,
Right.
the root saw. That's what we need, that's what we need.
This would be an acceptable use of our food and beverage fund. We do have enough left in there in our budgeted fund to be able to do that. I need a motion, and if we're gonna go with that one, it is because of the hydraulic root saw at the end of the bid and them using that.
With Calvin's recommendation, I make a motion, we go with commercial sewer cleaning, for $24,990, with, the root saw
Out of food and beverage.
out of food and beverage, yes.
I don't know if that line has ever been cleaned from the plant to the creek, ever.
When can they get to it, or did they say when they'll get to it?
No.
Okay.
But get the approval in, and then they'll tell us.
Motion been made, got a second. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Okay, Josh, for anything else? No. Call him and get it started. That'll make them happy to hide him.
Yeah, they've been waiting.
Thanks, Calvin.
Thank you. Dave, did you have anything? I'm just teasing you. Never mind. Anyone else? So we can have prayer hold your peace. Big old council.
Nothing today.
Other comments?
For a real quick one, our fall banners are in for the light posts, and the public works guys were supposed to be able to hang them today, but some stuff came up, so they are scheduled to hang them next Monday. And I should have December or holiday banners to you guys in the next couple of weeks to look at as well. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Motion for approval of payment of claims.
Motion to approve accounts payable balance in the amount of $500,252,068.
Say it again.
$500,252.68.
Okay. Motion been made, do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Craig, Josh, 4-0.
Motion to approve payroll clearing in the amount of $195,802.94.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Second. Made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Craig, Josh, 4-0. Council comments? Jeff? Josh? None. Great. I have one comment. Southbridge Crossing. The history of that is we have a countywide solid waste district, and several years ago the Morgan County Solid Waste District determined that it would be in the best interest of all of mankind to put recycling centers in wherever they could. They approached the town, and the town at that point in time owned the redevelopment board. The redevelopment commission owned Southbridge Crossing. The recycling bins were placed at the south end of that property. The redevelopment board made their improvements and sold that property. The property owners graciously said, go ahead and leave them there. We think it's the benefit to the community, we think it's a good thing, and we want that to continue to be there. Things happened, costs skyrocketed, and the West Central Solid Waste, or Morgan County Solid Waste District decided that they were going to go in a different direction on their recycling. There's still rumors about what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. I think maybe by Indiana code there has talking about a off-site location that the county or that the district owns, operates, and mans. They're talking about a gated area that will be manned by an employee 8 to 5 Monday through Friday or whatever their hours are to keep the problems that we were having in Mooresville from happening. They put a sign up that said this facility is closed. They painted it on the blacktop and they took the dumpsters away. Somehow, some people equated that with, well, it happened here before, so I'm going to dump my stuff here. Over the weekend, we were notified that it had become kind of an eyesore. Dave and his guys immediately jumped in and took care of that as far as trying to clean it up, push it up into a pile, and he contacted an outside vendor to be able to bring in a dumpster, and we knew that we couldn't bring in a dumpster and leave it, because we know what's going to happen then. So they brought in a dumpster this morning, a couple loads out, and some of the stuff went, I think, in our dumpsters. Is that correct, Dave? And that property is cleaned up. The sign went up, no dumping. What's really sad is what started out as a very good project got ruined by a few bad people. Our police department, if you haven't watched the news, they've been kind of busy this past week, and they still have time to go back and do it because I don't know what the statute of limitations are. So if you dump down there and you've left your mailing labels on or your envelopes with your mailing address and where it was going, don't be surprised if you're contacted in the very near future. It's ridiculous that it happened, and I think that our street department did a good job in trying to keep this town in a condition and shape that we need it to be in. Dave, I appreciate that. The police department's already stepped forward and said they're going to do some extra patrols down there. They're going to be watching. Everyone that I've spoke to within the street department or the police department, they're just as disappointed as I am. We're proud of this town. We don't need to muck it up any more than what it already is. So, that's that. Our next meeting day will be Tuesday, November 7th. You guys want to do it at 6:30? I don't know if that's before or after the fallback spring forward. Do you know?
I do not.
Anybody?
I think it is.
I need a motion to adjourn. Motion been made. Do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay, Josh, we're up.
You working on it? Yeah.